Okay, so in this video, we're going to have a look at how to find the surface area and volume of cones. Now, the surface area of a cone can be given by the formula. Surface area is equal to pi r squared plus pi rl. Now, L is the slant height. Okay, the slant height. The volume of a cone is 1/3 the volume of a cylinder with the same base and perpendicular height. Just like the pyramid is 1/3 the volume of a prism with the same base and perpendicular height. Okay? Let's have a look at a few examples. So here we've got a normal cone. Surface area is equal to pi r squared plus pi rl. The radius is 2. But we don't have the length, the slant height. The slant height is this, which just so happens to be the hypotenuse of this right angle triangle. Therefore, the slant height is the square root of 5 squared plus 2 squared. The sum of the squares of the other two sides. So I'm going to put that into my calculator and see what the answer is. Pi times 2 squared plus pi times 2 times the square root of 5 squared plus 2 squared. 46.40. 46.40 centimeters squared. Now, if the question asks you, what is the curved area? The curved area is just this bit, which means you only need to do this bit in your calculator, only if the question asks you what the curved area is. Okay, let's have a look at volume. Volume is 1/3 times pi r squared h. Okay, so we know that this is the formula for the volume of a cylinder. The volume of a cone is 1/3 of that. So 1/3 of pi times 2 squared times the perpendicular height, which is 5. Put in our calculators. 1/3 times pi times 2 squared times 5 is 20.94. 20.94 centimeters cubed. These are all to 2 decimal places. Okay, the next question. Another simple one. Surface area is equal to pi r squared plus pi rl. This time, the radius is not given to us, but the diameter is. So to work out the radius, we need to halve it. Half of 6 is 3. Plus pi times 3 times the slant height. We are not given the slant height. We are given the height and, well, given the two shorter sides of the right angle triangle. Therefore, the slant height L has to be the square root of 10 squared plus 3 squared. That gives us an answer of pi times 3 squared plus pi times 3 times the square root of 10 squared plus 3 squared, 126.67. 126.67 centimeters squared. Okay, again, if the question asks you for the curved area only, you only need to work out what pi rl is, which is this bit. That's all you need to put into your calculator for the curved area. Okay, volume. is equal to 1/3 pi r squared h. 1/3 times pi times the radius, which is 3, times the perpendicular height of 10. One-third times pi times 3 squared times 10 is 94.25 centimeters cubed. Let's have a look at another example. Here we have a composite solid, where we have a solid that's made up of 2 or more solids. Here we have a cylinder and a cone. The surface area is only the total area around the outside of a 3D solid. If we have a look here, there are only 3 faces that are on the outside. We have the area of the curved section of the cone. We have the area of the curved section of the cylinder. And we only have one circle. And that's at the base. So if I were to just draw this in. Okay, that circle there, that base, is on the outside, so we need to include that. We do not include this circle because that's on the inside, so we do not include that. Okay. So, the formula for the area of the curved section of the cone is pi RL. The formula for the curved section of the cylinder is 2 pi RH. Just remember, when we split that that curved section right down the middle and unfold it, it will become a rectangle, where the length of that rectangle actually needs to wrap around the entire circle. That's why it's the circumference of a circle. 2 pi r times the height, h, plus the area of a circle, pi r squared. So, that gives us pi times 6 times the slant height, which is not given to us. So we need to work it out. This is the slant height, is the hypotenuse. So it's going to be 8 squared, the square root of 8 squared plus 6 squared. We're going to add our 2 pi times the radius times the height. I'm going to add our circle, pi times the radius squared. Let's put that in our calculators and see what we get. Pi times 6 times the square root of 8 squared plus 6 squared. Okay, so that's the curved section of the cone. Then we're going to add 2 pi times 6 times 7. That's the curved section of the cylinder. Plus pi times 6 squared. That's the area of the base, which is a circle. 565.49. 565.49 centimeters squared. Okay, to work out the volume, we've got the volume of a cone, and we have the volume of a cylinder. The volume of a cone is 1/3 pi r squared h. The volume of a cylinder is just pi r squared h. 1/3 times pi, the radius is 6. The perpendicular height of the cone is 8. We're going to add pi times 6 squared times the perpendicular height of the cylinder is 7. Now we can put this into our calculators. One-third times pi times 6 squared times 8 plus pi times 6 squared times 7, 1093.27 centimeters cubed. Let's do one more example. Here we have another composite solid, and both of them are cones. But remember, the surface area is only the total area of the outside, what we can see. So the area is going to be, the surface area is going to be the area of the curved section of the smaller cone plus the area of the curved section of the larger cone. Okay, we do not see, this circle is on the inside, so we do not include it. Okay, it's not part of the surface area. Okay, the formula for this curved section of a smaller cone is pi RL, of any cone is pi RL, plus another pi RL. It's just that L is going to be different for both. Pi times 2.6 times, okay, so if we are to create a right angle triangle here, that is 2.6. This one here is 10 minus 7.1, which is 2.9. Okay, 10 minus 7.1, 2.9. Therefore, the slant height L has to equal to the square root of 2.9 squared plus 2.6 squared. Okay, it is the hypotenuse of that right angle triangle there. Plus pi times 2.6 times, this time we need to go the other way. Okay, let's do it here. We know that's 7.1, we know that's 2.6. Therefore, the slant height for this one is the square root of 7.1 squared plus 2.6 squared, which equals pi times 2.6 times the square root of 2.9 squared plus 2.6 squared plus pi times 2.6 times the square root of 7.1 squared plus 2.6 squared, which is equal to 93.57 meters squared. Okay, so to find the volume, we know that we have two cones. The formula for each of them is 1/3 pi r squared h. And I'm running it twice because they are different in size. Okay, if I just find one of them and multiply it by 2. So that gives us 1/3 times pi times the radius, 2.6 squared times the height, which is 2.9. That's for the smaller one. Plus 1/3 times pi times 2.6 squared times 7.1. And when we put that in our calculators, we get 1/3 times pi times 2.6 squared times 2.9 plus 1/3 times times pi times 2.6 squared times 7.1, which is 70.79 meters cubed. And that's it for this video.